All praise and honor and glory to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem B'Chakodash, and give double honor to the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone, who well, peace and salutation to elect. Shem Yahweh is a mopping from the Great Millstone Plain Tables Camp in Philadelphia. Come with another week lesson. You have it here concerning Job Corps. Alright, we're going to play this right quick. Fair use warning, CBS Philadelphia. This is for educational purposes only. It's not for any monetary gain at all.
A long-time federal program offering young people a second chance through job training is now on the chopping block. The government plans to shut down Job Corps centers nationwide, and some local students and graduates are speaking out. CBS News Philadelphia's Eva Anderson has their story.
Before joining Job Corps, 17-year-old Sincere Shaw says his future was uncertain.
I didn't know what I was going to do. I was skipping class.
That looked like Martin Luther King High School over there on Stenton, Haines Street area here in Philadelphia. Now you can see Jake through. Jake got the the Islam garb on and such.
Going walking the halls. I didn't want to go here.
Then a saving grace. He was accepted into the carpentry track of the Job Corps program. The federally funded initiative, established in the 1960s, offers teens and young adults a path to a diploma with hands-on job training. Everything from plumbing to CNA work.
Which is what Jake needs. Jake needs trades. Having a trade is ideal. Because having a trade, you can make money without even having an actual job and employ you. You can work for yourself, be self-employed, be an entrepreneur.
Months from graduation, he says he was thriving.
I just felt like it's a big difference for me, and I really love it there, and I hope it don't change.
But
and a lot of Jake need opportunity to keep themselves occupied. Okay. Let me get this scripture real quick. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 33 and verse 27. And it says, send him to labor that he not be idle, for idleness teaches much evil. Right? Going and speaking about having, of course, servants. But if your servants say don't have, nothing to do, and they're sitting there idle, which, we can etymon also idle real quick. So idle goes back to being really lazy, okay? Not employed or not doing work, okay? And you want to have something that you occupying yourself with, all right? Even with us, the scriptures tell us to occupy till the Lord comes, right? Luke chapter 19 and 13. And he called his 10 servants and delivered them 10 pounds and said unto them, occupy till I come. All right, and that's in the book of Luke 19 and 13, which occupy goes back to the Greek word pragmat you may
Strong's G 4231. Pragmatuomai. Pragmatuomai.
Which just means to busy oneself with, okay? To carry on a business or be occupying a thing, right? Going back to this root, which is, and going to pragma, which means to be accomplished, man. Business, a commercial transaction, and that's a requiring of you actually doing something. Alright, so Jake should actually be doing things and such, not to be slothful. The scripture even tell you to learn of the ant. Okay? And in Proverbs it says, "Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise." Right? And when you can consider, you gotta look, okay, and you have to learn and observe, okay, what the ant does. And what we learn about the ant, he works and works and works and is very diligent, right? As it says, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provided her meat in the summer and gathered her food in the harvest. Right? How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou rise out of thy sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy want as an armed man. A naughty person, a wicked man, walketh with a forward mouth. And that's basically it. Okay, but consider the ant, man. Alright? An ant works. So Jake, we should work too. As the scripture said, if you don't work, you don't eat. So, the Job Corps, that's as a positive program. You have these different federal programs that are created to help Jake, because Jake be troubled. Okay, in these cities, a Jake like this will meet up with another group of Jake, and before you know it, they doing some type of mischief. This will keep you out of mischief, keeping your hands occupied on some carpentry, some plumbing, some trades, man. That gets you some jobs.
Recently, everything changed. His program email, payment card, and account access were all deactivated without explanation.
To wake up one day and no more Job Corps, it's like really bad. I don't want my son to return back to these streets for no reason.
See? So, like, she don't want him to return to the streets, and Mama Keisha, she says she don't want him to return to the streets for no reason. There shouldn't be a reason to return to the streets, okay? At all. I could speak even for myself. I wouldn't say it myself being a troubled youth, but you do have the peer pressure, okay? And you can easily, under the wrong influence, and go and veer off to the dark side, as I call it. But the streets, Jake easily get into these streets, and what the streets lead to, the prison houses, and that's it. Okay, and that's mainly what the so-called black woman would like to prevent her sons to do. But hey, without the fathership of these scriptures, a lot of our Jakes have fallen victim to the system. Esau's system and pit, man, that swallowed Jake up.
U.S. Department of Labor says all Job Corps centers will close by June 30th, citing serious safety incidents, high costs, and a graduation rate of just under 39%.
So they even telling you, they done broke it down that, hey, really, not many of these youths actually graduate. They might start, get a couple dollars, and then leave. And that's another thing with a lot of Jake. They don't usually bring things to a completion. And, we should have that mindset to complete, all right, to accomplish, all right? And as we were going into, right, accomplished, right, pragma, all right? What is done or being accomplished. To carry on business. You carry on business to accomplish stuff, Why would you start something that you're not going to finish, Like, you, at the end of the day, you want to invest in yourself and be able to have a job and be able to support yourself and not have to be begging, like most of these Jake out there are doing, Now the begging is coming to an end, okay? Where, all the labor is being cut off now, man. The federal programs, all that's being cut off. I'm going to bring out some wisdom, of course. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 40 and 28. All right. Actually, I'm gonna read a bit above that. Okay. It says to labor. This is Sirach chapter Ecclesiasticus chapter 40 and 18. To labor and to be contented, or to be content with that a man hath is a sweet life. Right? You work and it satisfy you. Hey, you cool, man. Like it don't take much. That's a pleasant life, man. You work and then you content. But a lot of times, a lot of people, especially us, we'll work and we don't be content with what we have. We should pray each day for our daily bread. Pray that the Lord give us neither poverty, neither riches, feed us with food that's convenient for us. Give us our exact portion, all right? Our prescribed portion, that is, all right? When you go into it. But he that findeth a treasure is above them both, okay? And you have a treasure with this truth, hey, man, it's above everything, all right? This wisdom, knowledge, understanding, which can open up doors. It says, children in the building of a city continue a man's name, but a blameless wife is counted above them both. All right, I'm going to go down to verse 28. This is Sirach chapter 40 and 28. My son, lead not a beggar's life. You got Jake that actually are on that. Like, I'm just going to go and I'm going to ask my mom, and I'm going to ask my auntie, I might ask such and such. I even had Jake on the middle of a median or on the side of a corner asking and begging for money. That shouldn't be what you would have to do. Okay, the scriptures talk about how I never seen the righteous begging for bread. All right. This is in the book of Psalms chapter 37 and 25. It says, I have been young and now I am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging for bread. Okay, because the Lord is going to take care of us, man. He does take care of us and such, and we're never left. All right, or Izab, okay? Izab, which is a word for forsake. All right, and begging is bakwash, which when you beg, you seeking for something. All right, you trying to you trying to get something that you request. Right, by making an inquisition. Hey, can you please give me this and that? But that's not a life to lead. Okay, my son, lead not a beggar's life, for better it is to die than to beg, man. So that's heavy. A lot of Jake, like me, man, I don't want to ever have to beg, nobody out there, for, anything, because, that's like real humbling. And, I know, like, the Lord can make something out. So it also requires you to be very, 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 wise and prudent with your finances too. Okay, and even with these different programs, you gotta also know like, all right, this is just a stepping stone, right? And be able to move, all right, when it's time to move, all right, because in these times, like you said, you see these different jobs, like they closing down, federal funding getting cut down. They said per each over $80,000, $80,284 for each student. So just imagine how many students they have in a Job Corps program. Okay, this was reported by the Department of Labor. And they have a lot of different serious incident infractions. So, they cutting all that money, man, that funding, and they just cutting their ties to these Jake. And these Jake, like I said, they be dependent on these things. Some Jake be actually into these programs, and the different opportunities it provides.
Officials say they'll help current students transition, but families say they feel left behind.
You never know where these children come from. And it's like right now, just close the door and put them back in the street.
The news is also concerning.
And Jake come from nothing, really. You know, out here in America, man, they on these real low-income communities where, like I said, you used to seeing generations upon generations of people that don't work. You know, they don't have a job. They, you know, looking at even some of these different average median household incomes in some of these communities are very, very low, man. Under 25,000. You know, the mom, she just she been living off of all the different government subsidies, and those are being monitored and possibly being cut down. All right, cut off, amended. So, you know, this is going to destroy a lot of the young men out there, you know, but a lot of them are 2/3, you know, that's mixed into this stuff. So it's just a time of judgment. But it's going to keep going.
Graduates of the program who say they wouldn't be where they are today if it weren't for Job Corps.
I was a problem child.
38-year-old Charles Marshall said that changed with Job Corps, graduating in 2004. He's now self-employed in construction.
See? So look what this is, like a success story for him. It's exactly what I said. You learn trades and stuff like that. That gives you like endless possibility, because you are your own basically vessel to go and get like what you need, which is you need to get paid so that you can provide for yourself and your family or whatever is under you. Okay, pay your bills, pay your cell phone bill. You know, if you got a car, pay your car note, car insurance. Okay, registration, tags, all of that. You know, making sure you got gas in it. You don't have to go ask when, oh, can we? You done provide for yourself because you a legit man. You learn how to be a man, okay? And that's what a lot of these different programs, they kind of show you and expose you, you know, kind of how to, you know, be a man. You might meet other men. They might, you know, older men that have some things. You know, they'll suggest, you know, hey, you should get a car. You should get a house. You know, hey, you need this to get that, and you know, get to the next level instead of just being in the community where the only thing that they looking forward to next is the next girl that's coming down the street that look good, the next person to bust a trap to sell to, or you know, the next French fry and you know, glizzies or hamburgers and hot dogs that they gonna eat, or what's the next platter we gonna eat? When the next day my mom gonna cook some macaroni and cheese and some chicken wings or something like that. You know what I mean? Where Keisha at? You know, go on.
And it made me more responsible.
Armstead King works.
Taught him responsibility. You know how to save money. Like a lot of Jake don't know how to save their money. You know, they're just thinking they can just eat it all up. You can't eat all your money up, okay? You know, so this is another thing, you know, going out to some of these Jake out here, man. Jake got to learn to take care of themselves, you know?
With students entering Job Corps.
You got a lot of young brothers that don't know how to take care of themselves, and you got to learn that, you know? It ain't all about just eating food and such. Take care of yourself. Take care of your hygiene and stuff. You know, but it starts with getting a job, okay? But anyway,
it's sad to see it go.
I think it'll be a really misfortune to the community.
For families like the Shaws, it's not just the loss of a program, but the future they were beginning to believe in. Eva Anderson, CBS News, Philadelphia.
So that's a future cut short, man, just because, you know, this Job Corps thing is through. So I'm going to try to click this next one.
As the federal government continues to scale back its funding of programs, the latest cut would slash funds for the Job Corps program across the country. Now, Job Corps is a free job training program run through the U.S. Department of Labor that helps young people ages 16 to 24 develop job readiness skills for vocational careers. The Labor Secretary said the funding cuts came after a surge of, quote, serious incident reports alleging problematic behavior among program participants. Raven Santana spoke to some current students in the program about the impact it's had and what these funding cuts would mean to them.
it's just a whole lot of frustration with all of these kids here, especially because none of them have no place to go. They don't have no homes. They don't have no jobs.
So they be troubled youth too, with a lot of stress on their head. So, you know, they put in these different opportunities where they gotta learn structure, and they got to stress about what's going on with their whole home life.
Like, they put all their efforts into coming here.
19-year-old Grace Simmons says she was only 37% of the way through her certified clinical medical assistant training when she learned the U.S. Department of Labor would be officially shutting down the Job Corps program nationwide. Simmons now joins fellow students at program sites across the country who are feeling frustrated and uncertain about their futures.
Before I got here, I was actually homeless out on the street. So, like, Job Corps saved my life.
That's young Jake right there, too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, cause I be seeing a lot of these, some of these younger Jake, like, sleeping in front of a bando. I'm like, whoa. Shite, and pissing, and, in a bucket, and just, smoking weed and getting on these hard drugs, cause when you homeless, it'll be open up, opportunity for demons to, get at you, There's a lot of wickedness that's out in the street.
More on a different type of level. I just now got my certifications yesterday for carpentry, as a matter of fact. My fear now is that a lot of students don't have places to go at all. Like, as soon as we heard the news, there were students crying in their dorms, not knowing what to do, what their next move is going to be.
I was genuinely devastated. I am 67% done with my trade, and now
learning phlebotomy and stuff.
How it's honestly very upsetting because
I don't know why this person sound like this, but
can't get that career that I came here for.
Job Corps is a free education and job training program for low-income and young adults run by the U.S. Department of Labor, designed to help young people ages 16 to 24 gain valuable skills for the workforce.
I had a dream of being a mechanic, and, coming here would have changed that.
What are you concerned about now?
I'm just concerned about where I'm going to go after this. Fortunately enough, I was able to get all my certificates. So, but a lot of people don't have that blessing. Some people just came not that long ago. Some people aren't even at 50%. So they can't get pushed through. They can't get all the certificates that they need for working after this.
The decision is facing backlash.
Yeah, because some of these different, shops and all that, like, they require certain, certificate to do certain work. But again, once you got these skills, once you're a Jake, the sky's the limit. I see dudes outside of an AutoZone making cash money, right now, and no excuses. Tools in the back, of a van, and just, changing oil, whatever, learning stuff, disassembling stuff. Just applying yourself, man. So, you got to apply yourself out here, man, especially in these times. So, as the scriptures say, seeking you shall find, and apply. It says, Ecclesiastes chapter 6 and 32, my son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught. But you got to be willing. A lot of Jake not willing to learn, okay? Like they say, you can lead the horse to the water, but you can't make him drink, right? It says, and if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. Now, I'm going to look up apply. Okay? Like, you think about application. That means you actually got to adhere. You have to attach. Okay? You have to actually devote oneself and give attention to. All right? From add, right? You have applicare, which is to attach or join, connect. All right. It says it also, in the etymology sense, to bring things in contact with another. You got to put yourself with that which you trying to become. All right. So if I want to become a mechanic, I'm going to link up with the mechanic program. I'm going to be with the mechanics, and I'm going to be a mechanic. Okay. Simple as that. I'm going to put myself with the tools, to do that. Okay. If I want to, what else they do? Plumber, all that. Get yourself an apprenticeship. This sets that up.
From lawmakers and program leaders alike, including Ashton Stripling.
Look, showing them construction, showing them how to make mortar and all that. You go out there and sit out at Home Depot and get some work. All right? Handyman, put out cards.
Director of the Job Corps Academy of Medicine, one of more than 130 centers operating nationwide.
We serve annually 417 students a year.
Remember that 880, that's a lot of money, man. You do the math, 80,000 times, 80,000 times that 400, so that's the big money we talking about. Okay, so that's millions of dollars that's going around, billions, probably billions of dollars with this stuff.
And how many are now at risk?
Every one of them.
Dang.
They are at risk of losing their education, at risk of not having shelter.
Yeah, because that thing provides shelter, for these kids that lost it. They ain't got nothing going for them. They got a place to sleep. They got a place to, get themselves the job training, the experience, all that packed into one package.
Risk of
now you taking that from them?
Having 3 meals, hot meals a day.
Food.
At risk of losing health care. Mental health, we provide wellness care here for our students. They are just at risk of going back to the streets where they try to escape. They're losing their safety net here.
Like a safe haven.
25th, 2025, the U.S. Department of Labor's Employment and Training Administration released the first ever Job Corps Transparency Report, which reviewed financial performance and operational, Job Corps.
And you see it right there. They got breaches in our safety and security. They got drug use reported, hospital visits, all right, acts of violence reported. They got different sexual inappropriate assaults reported, about 372. Basically the program have 14,913 infractions, right, total. Post-separation participation earns annual on average of $16,695. Cost per graduate. Each graduate, the cost is basically $100,055. All right, so $155,000, man. But the graduation rate is real low, man. It's not even above 50%. This is 38.6. So, apparently, as it said in PY 2024, the program operated at a $140 million deficit. Okay, requiring the Biden administration to implement a pause in center operation to complete the program year. Deficit is projected to reach 213 in PY 2025, man. So, and Trump trying to cut everything, so, or is cutting everything, so that's what it is. So, I'm gonna get this other scripture, and that's gonna be it. I definitely wanted to cover that though through the spirit, because like we seeing a lot of things affect Jake, in all different forms of life. Okay, so even Jake's education is being cut off right now, So this is the book of Isaiah chapter 32:5. It says, the vile person, which is Esau, right? Remember, they're viler than the earth, the Edomites, shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. All right. It says in the New King James Version, the foolish person will no longer be called generous, nor the miser said to be bountiful. And we know that Esau is a niggard. The true nigger is Esau. Okay, he's a scoundrel, and he like to heap things to himself. So hey, all this money he wanted for himself. He tired of giving it out to these programs and helping Jake. Hey, it's time to cut Jake off, man. That's what Esau is into right now. For the vile person will speak valiantly, and in his heart he will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy and to utter error against the Lord Yahweh. Like, some people that probably thought that this man would be bringing a lot of good, well, it's actually bringing a lot of evil. Okay, like some of you so-called pro Trumpers, you just, for your so-called, because mainly it's going to be Israelites that's going to be benefiting from that program, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they would benefit from that program and such. Esau usually already got stuff set up, college, and they got savings, trust funds. They got all types of stuff. They got generational. They pops might already have a family business already. Jake, they need this. But hey, now, a lot of people that believed in this system, that led more towards Esau cutting more off. Okay. Listening like, yeah, we just gonna cut more people off, man. Look at these Jake. Jake for Trump, right? So-called blacks and browns for Trumps. Yeah, and then let's just cut them off. But we all know that the politicians are set up anyway by the delegated by the shadow government, the elite. That's all. All right. To make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. All right. You see that. The instruments also of the churl are evil. He devises wicked devices to destroy the poor with blind words, even when the needy speaketh right. Alright, so, there's a lot of things that, Esau has brought forth, and now, the plan just really came out. They really are going to use this to bring Jake into slavery, really, because these Jake are going to hit the streets and then just be a part of that prison life, get involved with gangs and, get back to, wickedness, instead of being occupied with, things that could stimulate their brain and ultimately get them to be able to work, but that's going to be the lesson for the time. They're closing up Rite Aid pharmacies and all that, man. Just seen another one closing in the community. That's more jobs lost, and so the grinding is starting to cease. So, shalom to you, like.